We're going to stay with the fight on the left side of politics for just a bit. Bernie Sanders trying to pull off an upset in the biggest state up for grabs, while Hillary Clinton tries to avoid being embarrassed. Let's bring in James Hohmann, national political correspondent for the Washington Post. He also writes the Post newsletter, which we can't put down, called the Daily 202. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you. Good to be with you.
All right. So I just picked up the new Monmouth University poll, which shows me maybe why Hillary Clinton's leaving New Jersey and going someplace else. It is squeaky close. What's going on with her, and what can she do in California at this point?
She still could win, and I think a win, a surprise victory, a strong victory would help. I think a lot of national groups are trying to tip the balance because they see how close it is. The governor of California, Jerry Brown, endorsing Hillary today. The National Resource Defense Council, one of the big environmental groups, endorsing Hillary, the first time they've done so in a presidential primary. But I do think, there's a lot of liberal frustration and dissatisfaction. At this point, I think a lot of people who are voting for Bernie think Hillary is going to ultimately be the nominee. Not everyone, but they see it as a way to kind of express some frustration, to kind of check a box that they kind of are behind the general political revolution concept that Sanders is talking about. But at this point, the reason Hillary is going in and canceled events in New Jersey is they still see this as a winnable race. This is a very diverse state. There's a large African-American population. There's a much larger Latino population. The Clinton campaign is doing a lot that we don't see, to try to get out the Asian American vote. She's done very well among a lot of these minority communities in other big states. And I think at the end of the day, that could end up making the difference. But California, is an interesting state. There is obviously a large liberal population along the coast that Sanders has tapped into. And he's really approached this race like a Senate candidate. He's been in California nonstop for 7 days now, 8 days actually, all day, every day, campaigning nonstop, going all over the state. And it's a reflection of how much this is do or die for Sanders. If he loses, even though he's pledged not to drop out until the convention, I think there will be a lot less buzz and a lot less energy. I think Hillary, even if she loses California, is still technically on track to get the number of delegates she needs to clinch the nomination next Tuesday.
Yeah, just a couple of things for you. I'm curious to know what a real victory looks like, though, because if it's really close, does it hurt her at all? I understand she's got enough now. I mean, if you just do the numbers, she'll get there with the nomination, unless something happened that we couldn't even think of at this point.
Right.
But the optics of this, talk to me about that.
Yeah, the reason Clinton is, they'd not planned on spending any money. They had told us that they weren't going to put any TV ads on the air, and they changed their mind. I think there's no question that they recognize it would be really embarrassing to end the primary season with a thud. California is the country's largest state, and it would be hard to kind of talk about party unity for that interregnum period between, June 7th and July 20th. When the Democratic convention starts, if Hillary loses the last big state. It's hard to then go to Bernie people and say, you should really get on board. This is our best chance to beat Trump. It's
hard to do that anyway, because the polling has shown, and it's pretty consistent in the last few months, that Bernie supporters are not Hillary Clinton supporters. And while they may not love what would happen across the political aisle per their platform, some of them would like a Donald Trump over her.
We'll see what happens when that shakes out. When you look back at the polls, I think that there are certainly, some number of people. I'm not sure what percentage of Bernie supporters that is. I think it's probably smaller than the polls show right now, just because, remember, back in 2008, there were only 2 times John McCain was ahead of Barack Obama in the polls, and it was right after he locked up the nomination when Obama and Hillary Clinton were still going at it, and then after he picked Sarah Palin to be his VP. And I think some of that's happening right now. The Republicans who told pollsters a month ago they wouldn't support Trump now are supporting Mr. Trump. And on the Democratic side, I do think there are people who don't want to support Hillary, don't love her, but once the choice is Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, they'll support Hillary Clinton.
Well, we shall see. Mr. Hohmann, always good to see you.
We shall.
Thank you for giving us the